Thank you for tuning in. New SEC podcast. We're talking about Alabama, number 8 in the nation, going to Florida State, Doak Campbell Stadium, 80,000 fans roaring and ready to see some better Seminole football. And they have one of the toughest opponents in the season coming in with the Alabama Crimson Tide. The line in this game is 13 and the over-under is 50.5. Hunter, what are we thinking here at the New SEC podcast?
You know, if you would have told me a couple years ago that there was going to be a team sending a quarterback on his first start to Florida State and they were going to be 2-score favorites, I would have thought that's a little crazy, but Alabama's doing it. They opened as 11-point favorites, moved to 13.5. Money's coming in on Alabama. And I think for good reason. If you're looking at Alabama versus Florida State right now, there's not a lot on paper that Florida State has better than Alabama at any position. I think the only thing you can maybe point to is that Florida State has a little bit more experience, a lot more experience at the quarterback position. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll see. But right now, Alabama, on paper, talent-wise, looks too strong for this team and a lot of teams that they'll face.
Yeah, and I think, the theme for this game for me has always been, is Alabama football's defense too much for Florida State? And you talked about it where, on paper, Alabama's offense looks a lot better. Alabama's defense looks a lot better, right? They return a ton of production. I was reading this week that, Deontay Lawson was practicing, hand in the dirt and also kind of playing in that linebacker position. So they're getting ready to show multiple looks at Castellanos at the quarterback position. And really, this will be one of the toughest games that he's played in his career.
Yeah. He's been talking like it's going to be a cakewalk. Tommy Castellanos has been talking like it's like he's got some energy behind him, like the team's fired up for it. I like that energy, bring the heat, talk like you got it. It's going to be an interesting game. It's supposed to be raining that day, maybe some scattered thunderstorms, which could be an interesting one. Last time Alabama was in Florida playing in the rain versus USF, it looked like Alabama was going to lose that game until maybe the last quarter. I was there at that one sitting in the rain. So, it could be an interesting game. Like you said, hand in the dirt type football. I think Alabama's going to try to pound the rock. Jim Miller is going to be out for this game. So they're going to have to rely on the rest of the running backs, Richard Young, Hill, Dre Washington. The defense from Alabama, like you're mentioning, to this Florida State offense, getting a read looks a little bit different. This Florida State team is almost entirely different than last season. So many new starters. You got 3 wide receiver transfers coming in, 4 new transfers on the O-line. You have the new quarterback, like we've been talking about with Tommy Castellanos. So the defense is planning on, hopefully just playing good football. It's tough. They're not going to have a good scouting report on this team because there's no clue at what they'll look like.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike Norvell historically has had good offenses at Memphis, had a good offense, and 2 years ago at Florida State, they bring in Deuce Robinson at receiver. He had 5 touchdowns last year at USC. They're expecting him to kind of be the main X guy with Thomas Castellanos. When I look at Castellanos' resume, there's a lot to be optimistic for Florida State in some capacities in this game. In 2023, he ran for over 1,100 yards, but I've never seen him win a big game. The biggest game he's won in his career was in 2024 against Syracuse. Syracuse upset Miami. This is a whole different ballgame with the SEC defenses. He lost a starting job at BC at one point last year, and in his best year touchdowns wise, 18 TDs, 14 interceptions. Last year he had about 15 TDs, 5 interceptions before they benched him. He's going to have to channel that leading rusher mentality in this game against real competition. Ain't no Dukes, ain't no Louisvilles, to actually have a chance to win against Alabama. Now, on the flip side, Bama had the number 11th ranked defense rushing wise in the SEC last year. So that's where they've kind of struggled. And so if Florida State wants to have a chance in this game, they're going to need to be able to run the football against Bama. Yeah,
there was some nickel and diming against this Alabama defense last year and running the ball. They could do it if Castellanos gets a little bit more on his legs. It's almost like last season he sacrificed a little bit of that rushing ability to be less turnover prone. Maybe, I'll sit in the pocket, be more focused on throwing. I know some of those listening, I don't know if you've seen it, there's videos of him at practice doing some, rolling out of the pocket each way, making some passes. So I do expect him to extend some plays, get out of the pocket, that does confuse Alabama's defense. It did last season. Where more mistakes happened was as plays broke down and staying with the guy. So especially in the rain, it could get slippery out there. Florida State could see some interesting plays break loose. I think Alabama's defense is really strong. I don't think Florida State. I'm going to go as far as say I don't think Florida State has a shot in this game unless Alabama plays horrible. I mean, if something happens wild and Ty Simpson really is just nowhere near who we think he is, or if it's one of those rain games like the Great Equalizer, where anything can happen, I like Alabama in this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I get it. I mean, you think about like the only way that Florida State has a shot to win this game, like, is Alabama's defense enough to stop this offense to win the game? They would have to run the football out of their minds. It happened 3 times last year against Tennessee, right? 214 yards given up. Oklahoma, an anomaly to Alabama fans, 257 yards given up. And there was one more, Missouri, and they still beat Missouri. Missouri ran for 160 yards. That is the only way that Florida State has a chance to win this game. I like Bama. I like Bama big. Even what's crazy about this line is that 13 points, despite the fact that Jam Miller is not playing. Reports are saying he's not coming back until the Georgia game. I like Bama big in this one. What's your final prediction, Hunter?
I think it starts out a little bit slow. One of those games that gets fans on the edge of their seat. Maybe it's like 3-0, 3-3. And then I think the lid blows off into the first half, into the second half. I have Alabama 38-10.
Jeez. Okay. All right. I mean, I was going to say 31-10. 38-10 is serious.
Yeah, make some money. Put some money on Alabama in this game. I think, the money's coming in, the line's moving. We're recording now. We're a little over a week out from the game. That line could continue to shift. I know 13.5 is a bit of a stalling point because of the 2 scores. The line could continue to shift a little bit.
Line could shift. The weather could shift. Hunter's part-time meteorologist. We got weather predictions a week out here.
It's important.
But, so that's what we think here at the new SEC podcast. We want to know what y'all think. Drop your predictions below. I mean, how bad could this game be for Florida State? Is it actually going to be close for Florida State? I want to see comments from Alabama fans, Florida State fans. Let us know what y'all think. It's a new SEC podcast. Thanks for tuning in.